Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the John Guinn Travel Show on ukhealthradio.com. Summer's already over. It's only the first week of May. If you missed it, it was a couple of days ago. So another sign that the weather's going to be lousy is the fact that it's half term coming up. So this week I'm focusing on things to do during half term in London. And there's a couple of the 4 destinations I'm talking about this week. There's Ripley's Believe It or Not. There's walking tours of London, which I suppose isn't one destination. It's a few. The London Dungeons and the Science Museum. The Science Museum interview always brings me in a cold sweat. It had to be done over 2 takes because I did a great interview with the guy there, Anthony, the learning manager. And then I got back to my studios and the preamp in my recording system had gone wrong, so it was unusable, so I had to go back and do it again. But it was great because I got to go to the Science Museum. The Science Museum are great. Again, it's one of my favourite places. All these interviews are a year or 2 old because I've done them over the nearly 4 years I've been doing this show. But I decided to put them together just for a half-term special to give you some options of things to see and do while it's raining during the half-term week. When I was speaking to Anthony at the Science Museum, one of the things he said was, if you want to go to a museum, especially the Science Museum, which gets really busy, you don't want to go when it's raining. You want to go when there's a heat wave because everybody's out and about. And if it's raining, everybody wants to do stuff indoors. So if it is wet this half term, you might find it busy at places around the country. If it's nice and sunny, well, that'll be the chance to go and visit some of the places you wanted to do for a long time. So enough of me waffling for this week's intro. We're going to start off now with Ripley's Believe It or Not, which is a place I've passed many times when I've been downtown doing shopping and generally just killing some hours. But I've never actually been inside. So this was an ideal opportunity for me to learn what it was all about.
Yes, he was. Our founder, Robert Ripley, was a cartoonist, an adventurer, and a collector of the unusual, and he dedicated his life to travelling and reporting on unbelievable things in exotic locations all over the world. His collections were celebrated around the world and displayed during the 1930s and 40s in a number of fairs, bringing the world to the public at a time where actually international travel was still very much a luxury.
So there's been some shows of these wonderful things in the past, but when did the very first Ripley's Believe It or Not open?
Well, after Robert Ripley's death in 1949, the Ripley's Believe It or Not attractions were created to display his collections and continue his legacy on. They started predominantly in North America, but from then 33 Ripleys have been opened around the world, including Canada, Denmark, Thailand and Australia, to name a few.
Out of these 33, are there any that have a unique exhibit just for that particular location, or are they pretty much the same?
Yes, absolutely. Well, each Ripley's has its own unique collection of artefacts, exhibits and interactive experiences, and we're continually adding to those collections as well. So, for example, we've just brought into Ripley's London, for Harry Potter fans, a Hungarian horn-tailed dragon from the Harry Potter movies, which was created entirely out of recycled car and motorcycle parts.
I could do one of them in my room, actually.
We have a lot of recycled sculptures, actually. We've got a toy boy made up of unusual toys from childhood memories. So we've got Game Gears in there, Power Rangers, and we've got a gorilla made up of car bumpers. So a lot of kind of inspirational sculptures in Ripley's as well.
I was just making a note of my Christmas list as you were going through those. I could do one of it. The one in London, when did it open?
Well, London, we actually opened back in 2008, and this summer we're celebrating 6 years in the capital, which we're very proud of. And we're actually the flagship Ripley's, believe it or not, around the world, and we're very proud of that fact.
Yeah. And whereabouts in London is it?
So we're based right in the heart of central London, in Piccadilly Circus, literally just a couple of steps from the Underground station. And obviously with West End shows, restaurants, shops literally on our doorstep, it's the ideal place to start your day out in London.
You said start the day out, so what are your opening times?
So we're open from 10 a.m. until midnight each day. Our last admission is at 10:30 p.m., but we're open every single day of the year, even Christmas Day, believe it or not.
Really, Christmas Day? I kept there.
Yeah.
Seeing the in-laws then. I just popped down.
Well, it's one of our busiest days of the year, actually. There are
Yeah.
so many people staying in central London for the Christmas holidays, and obviously with so much closed, it's great, to sort of take the kids out for a couple of hours and sort of entertain them before their big Christmas lunch.
Yeah, I stayed in London for Christmas a few years ago, and I couldn't believe how dead it was. But I didn't realise you were open. I could have just popped over.
Well, we are, and like I said, it's a fantastic day. Staff and visitors really enjoy it. It's got a really fun festive buzz, and certainly one of my favourite days to work.
With all the different things you got on show, are there any that are a little bit too scary for children? Have you got an age limit for visitors?
No, we don't actually have an age limit. The attraction is very interactive and appeals to everyone, young and old, really. The only thing that we highlight is we do request that all children under the age of 7 are accompanied by an adult, and children actually under the age of 4 do go free at the attraction. We do have a dungeon zone, though, that we do highlight to visitors. Every child is different. Some kids absolutely love it, but for those of a slightly sensitive nature, we do offer an alternative route around the dungeon if they'd prefer not to go through.
Can adults like me who are slightly sensitive bypass it as well?
Absolutely, for scaredy cats like myself as well. I normally sidestep around it, but any sort of exhibits like that, we do have plenty of signage just to sort of forewarn visitors if they'd rather take another route.
You've got an awful lot on show in London, so you've got to get it into the space you've got available. But does that mean it's not an accessible place to visit, or is it quite easy to get around?
It is, absolutely. We do actually have lift access to every floor, so very much accessible for buggies and wheelchairs as well. We've got plenty of staff on hand as well to help visitors go between each floor, and visitor assistance for any other help that they need. For people visiting with disabled guests, we also do offer free carer admission with each ticket purchased as well.
You just said you're over a few floors. Does that mean you're broken? And you've said a dungeon as well. So is the whole show broken into different sections?
Yeah, so we're based over 6 floors, and those 6 floors are made up of around 20 uniquely themed galleries, holding over 700 different artefacts, so plenty to see during the visit. But absolutely, the attraction is a sort of walk-through route, so very much a sort of continual step-by-step process through the attraction. We also have our mirror maze, our laser race, and our spinning tunnel on site as well, so plenty to see. And also for those looking to kind of extend their visit, we've also got a cafe offering plenty of snacks and refreshments, and a gift shop as well for those people looking for a quirky and alternative souvenir to complete their Believe It or Not day.
You're listening to The Travel Show with John Guinn on UKHealthRadio.com. It's a half-term special this week, and I'm covering Ripley's Believe It or Not. I'm currently speaking to Ali Gooder. We'll back to her in a minute. I forgot to mention her name at the beginning. Very bad of me. And then it's the walking tours of around London, London Dungeon, and the Science Museum. So as I've mentioned, I'm speaking to Ali Gooder, who represents Ripley's Believe It or Not. And we've been talking about the destination, the attraction, and what you can see and do there. But of course, when you work at somewhere like that, you're bound to have a favourite. So that's what I wanted to know next. What was Ali's favourite part of the Ripley's Believe It or Not? You've already said you like working on Christmas Day, but what's your favourite exhibit?
Oh, it's a hard one. Obviously, we've got so many at the attraction. Everyone has their own favourites, and that's, the fantastic thing about Ripley's. It's very much down to personal taste. But a couple of my favourites probably our full-size knitted Ferrari that we have, made up of over 12 miles of wool. We've got a portrait of Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper painted onto a single grain of rice. And also, I'm a big Top Gear fan, and we've also got one of the Peel 50s as featured on the show, which holds the record for being the smallest road legal car ever produced. Laser Race is also a huge favourite with visitors, where basically visitors embark on a Mission Impossible style experience against the clock, where they've got to jump, crawl, twist their way between all the laser beams. So for those that want to sort of test their skills against mum, dad or their friends, people get very competitive, really good fun.
I wouldn't have the patience to paint something onto a grain of rice. That must have taken ages.
I know. Where people find the skills and these quirky talents is fantastic. But absolutely, I don't have the steady hand to do that myself.
If I had a weird skill or I found something, would I be able to submit it to the collection?
Definitely. We love hearing from people who've got ideas for new exhibits, and we're always on the lookout for things to add to the collection. The only stipulation is we do ask that they fit our believe it or not concept. We celebrate the extraordinary, be it unbelievable talents. We've got a lot of historic and cultural artifacts on show, and also artwork made up of unusual materials and people using different techniques. So, for example, we've actually just welcomed into the attraction a new portrait of Paul McCartney and John Legend, and the artist has etched it into the car hoods of Volkswagen Beetles. So Beetles on Beetles, if you like.
Yeah. What about belly button fluff? I've got a lost collection. Would you take that?
Well, do you know what? The weirder the better at Ripley's. I'm sure we'd find a good home for it.
My wife will kill me now for bringing that up. If somebody in the area wanted to hold an event, a team meeting or something, are they able to hire out Ripley's?
Yeah, definitely. Being London's most weird and wonderful attraction, we do get quite a few requests for meetings, for drinks receptions and parties, and we very much welcome them at the attraction. We also offer some really fun birthday party packages for people at the attraction, and everything down to VIP experiences, champagne tours. We try and sort of make a day out as special as the visitor wants to, really.
You've got an awful lot over your floors. If I was to show up, how long would it take me to get from start to finish and see everything?
Well, it does vary from person to person. We say normally to allow between about an hour and a half to 2 hours for your visit, but you can walk through totally at your own pace and take as much or as little time as you like. I mean, as I said, we do close at midnight, so there's plenty of time for people to browse at their own pace.
You're going to be very busy, so if you want to experience the most of everything, have a good old look, is there a best time of day to show up?
Well, we're open from 10 until midnight, so we're perfect for those, looking to visit early with their family or midweek after work. We have quite a lot of flexibility. But I'd certainly say my favourite time to visit is after 5 p.m. It's a little bit quieter. You have a bit more of the attraction to yourself. And we actually also offer an evening saver ticket on our website where visitors can save over 35% on their admission. So certainly good for those as well looking to grab a bit of a bargain as well.
That's quite a saving, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
You already said that London is the flagship one of the whole world. How did it become the flagship?
Well, we're the largest. We've got around 20,000 square feet of attraction space, over 6 floors. Obviously, there are a large number in North America, but London, being sort of very central to Europe, and obviously prime location space in Piccadilly Circus, with so many international and domestic visitors to London. Obviously, it's just a fantastic location for us to showcase all the weird and wonderful artefacts that Ripley's got to offer.
So you're obviously keen to continue to be the flagship. So what's in the future for London?
Well, we're constantly adding to